Hello, I'm Phoenix Phantom, and today we're just going to be doing some Star Wars Battlefront 2 loadout ideas. This means that I'm just going to be talking about the different weapons for each class and what guns that you should aim for and should use. So we're going to start off with Assault. So for Assault, you're going to start out with the base weapon, which in this case is the DC-15A. Then you're gonna get the A280. The A280 is a medium range rifle that has a burst fire option. So for this weapon, I'd recommend improved cooling and improved range. I don't really want to use dual zoom because I don't know, I just don't want a sniper scope on most of my weapons. Also, if I want a scope, I could go first person. Then we're gonna get to the CR2. The CR2 is the only SMG in the game. So it has a high fire rate and high cooling power, as you can see, but low damage and low range. This is a gun if you really want to be aggressive as an assault player. So what I'd recommend for this is reduced recoil or an ion shot. You don't have to use ion shot if you don't want to, because it does reduce damage against other players. But it does do more damage to turrets, shields, and vehicles. You don't have to have it, so the other option would be night vision. It just highlights enemies for you. You don't have to use iron shot, and if you want to, you can use night vision. But one modification that you should really get is the reduced recoil. Next is the EL-16 HFE. This is like a marksman rifle. So it has a really slow fire rate, but high damage, high cooling power, and high range. So what I'd recommend is reduce recoil and improve range. Again, I don't really want to use dual zoom. Reduced recoil is really good because this does have a lot of recoil each shot, and improved range would be really good to have. Next on to heavy. So for the heavy, you're going to start with the base weapon, which in this case is the DC-15. Then you'll get the DC-15LE. So for this, I'd recommend reduced recoil and exploding shot. So again, reduced recoil is really good because this does have a lot of recoil to it. And then exploding shot, basically the blaster bolts explode on impact, but it heats up faster. So then onto the FWMB-10K. What I'd recommend for this is auto cooling and ion shot. Again, you don't have to use ion shot. I don't really want to use night vision, but auto cooling is as soon as you release your trigger, it starts cooling instantly. So that's really good to have, especially for how long this takes to cool down once you manually do it. Then you go on to the TL50. This is a really high fire rate, low range though. So what I'd recommend is improved cooling and reduced spread. So this heats up really fast if you don't have improved cooling, and with reduced spread you can get longer range kills. You can use secondary fire. If you're going to use secondary fire, then I'd recommend reduced spread, because then you can't aim down sights. Next on to the officer. Just ignore the level 4 and everything that's locked. So for the S5, I'd recommend reduced recoil and ion shot. Again, I don't really want to use dual zoom, or you can use dual zoom, I'm not saying you can't. And you don't really have to use ion shot if you don't want to. Then on to the Blurg 1120. I'd recommend reduced recoil with exploding shot, or you can use improved burst and exploding shot. So improved burst basically doubles how many shots are fired during the burst. Then onto the SE44C. This is the gun that you really want to use as an officer, because it's a really good pistol. So what I'd recommend is improved cooling and rapid fire. The rapid fire would be really good with the improved cooling because you get a lot more shots off. Then onto the specialist. You're going to start off with the base weapon, which in this case is the Vulcan 38X. Then you're going to get the IOA 11. So the IOA 11 is more for passive players. If you are one of those aggressive specialists, then I'd stick with the Falcon 38X until you get the A280 CFE. But onto the IOA 11, I'd recommend bolt speed and improved cooling. So bolt speed means that you can shoot faster, and improved cooling means you get more shots off. So that's really good to have. And then onto the A280 CFE, we have the burst mode, which is really good in the ion shot. Now this time I'd really recommend ion shot for this. So it really pairs well with the burst mode. And if you run into a heavy, and let's say it uses, let's go back to the heavy. So let's go back to the heavy, and let's say the heavy wants to use combat shield. You can really tear through that combat shield if you have burst and ion shot. It's also really good for the aggressive specialists, so you could get really close up and personal with other troopers. So now for the NT242. This is like an improved version of the IOA 11. I'd recommend improved cooling and disruptor shot, or dual zoom and improved cooling. Disruptor shot, it works as an ion shot and exploding shot, so it changes the stats as an ion shot would, but it explodes on impact as a exploding shot would. So that's really good to have, like everyone using this kind of setup. And I'd recommend improved cooling, because without it you can only get about 2 shots off. So with improved cooling, I believe you can get 4 if you shoot 3 and then wait like 1 second. Alright, so that's gonna be it for today. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and thank you so much.